G'day YouTube. Well, I've had quite a day looking after my baby trees and getting things done. I've come down for a little bit of a break to one of the creeks, one of the two spring-fed creeks that flow on the property. This one has a couple of little, I don't know if you'd call them swimming holes, that flow down towards the dam. And unlike so much of rural Australia at the moment, the idea of permanent water as opposed to dams that just dry up is relatively rare, and there's no discounting how lucky I feel. The previous owners put up that little artist studio that you can see directly up the hill. It's a neat little place. Has a bit of water at the back but no electricity, and not bad if you want to contemplate the world close to the sound of flowing water. This dam, this creek and another creek then flow into the dam that you see ahead further up, and that is a 1.2 million litre dam which has an outflow to Cooper's Creek, and the outflow is measured at 2 point something litres a second, even in drought. So that's the amount of volcanic water flow going in. And leaving aside the fact that water is a precious resource and that we might they might even consider irrigating one day, although I'm not sure I'd get a licence. It's beautiful, and there's no doubting it's an absolutely lovely place to be. Anyway, the reason for making this video is a little bit different. I received in the mail today a leaflet, ironically, from one of the real estate agents who I'd approached originally to look to buy a macadamia farm. And she promised me, well, she didn't promise me the world, but she promised that she'd look out for properties and put me in touch if ever a property came on the market, a macadamia farm came on the market. And when I was looking around various properties, including this one of the options that they said was, well, look, perhaps down the track, after the season is over, some more properties will come on the market, because people will say, look, that's my final season, collect their cash from the crop and then give it up. That hasn't happened so far, and in fact, apart from a couple of deliberately overpriced farms, which no one would ever pay that price for because they're simply not worth it, there's been nothing new coming on the market at all. And the agent's leaflet says we've got hundreds of registered buyers looking for a macadamia farm. Consider listing your property, you'll get a good price, and I'm sure that'll happen. I'm sure I'm still one of the agent's registered buyers as well. Others tell the story of waiting up to 3 years before they find a place once they make a decision to try and make this kind of a change. That would make me lucky, because it was about a year I was looking, and and I nearly gave up in that time, because there was just, until I found this place, and it sort of captured my heart. So if you want to buy a farm, if you're watching this YouTube video because you've searched for macadamia farms and you're thinking, gosh, I'd love to do that, I'm not the one to listen to. The person to listen to, or the channel to go see, is the Australian Macadamia channel, run by my mate Garth. He knows more, he's forgotten more than I know about macadamia farming, and most of it's self-taught. And if you want to go for an expert or someone self-taught, I'll go for someone self-taught every day, because he's made some of the mistakes and he's learned from them, and he teaches others. And he teaches a lot of lessons about what to look for and not look for in a macadamia farm. Some of his advice I followed, others I didn't ignore, but I knew what I was getting into when I was buying this place. For example, dealing with slopes. Flat land is definitely the most efficient for farming macadamias, and you can find lots of it in places like Rouse or Tregeagle or Lindendale. Those sorts of areas are clearly beautiful for macadamia farming. The problem with flat land is, if you're after a bit of lifestyle, flat land means no view. It means none of this, you know, the ideas of spring-fed creeks or views out onto the nightcap ranges or that sort of stuff. If you get a view, it's a very distant one, and most of the time your farm will be surrounded by trees, and a view of trees is nice, of course, it's nice and green. But if you want something more, then you really need a bit of a slope. So there's a trade-off, I guess. You know, you could say that this area isn't the most, it's certainly one of the traditional areas for growing macadamias, and Dunoon, which is to the west of me, would claim that they're the home or the capital of macadamia farming in Australia, if not the world. But yeah, I mean, the market at the moment, there's just no signs of farms coming on, and that leaves people who want to farm macadamias with either an unenviable wait, which is, I know, soul destroying, or B, planting your own farm, which certainly is great for a long haul campaign, and it's something I considered myself. But you know, there's a lot of trials and tribulations getting trees to the point where they can crop. It's not as easy as putting the trees in and forgetting about them for 5 years. They do need a bit of maintenance, and they have their own share of pests, even though they're not crop related pests. So and there are those options, and one thing you can look for is an old cattle property coming on the market. Some of the cattle properties are in a frost zone, which means they're too low down, they're not above the frost zone, which means they're inappropriate for macadamias. Other areas of land are too rocky or too hilly to bother with a plant, and unless you want to do a sort of marginal call. We are in heady days for macadamia prices, where you could plant a marginal block of land and still make money, but if the price ever goes down, well, you'll be the first to make a loss, and there'll be the least you can do about it. So, you know, in my case, I was lucky. I found an established farm. It does need a lot of TLC, but the trees are in a condition where you can bring them back up within a couple of years to absolutely full production, if you take care. You know, easier said than done in some parts of this farm, but I'm certainly working on it, and I hope to see the results come March or April this year. If I'm still making videos by then, I'll keep you updated. But yeah, and the entry into the market is a real tough call. I'd say, look, go and watch those videos from the Australian Macadamia channel. They're absolutely full of good advice. Certainly what I took into account when making a decision to buy this place, and the rest of it, well, you can rely on experts as well. I had the venerable Graham Fleming, who's a director of the Australian Macadamia Society, advised me in relation to this place and give me some professional advice about whether the farm would be viable, and some financial calculations about that. That was absolutely invaluable. You certainly don't want to trust a real estate agent who will tell you that every farm is a gold mine. You need to send in someone like this and get a report, and the money you spend could save you thousands in a wrong purchase. My particular expert gave me the kibosh on 2 or 3 places before he gave a qualified okay to this one, and another one which was in an area that was flat and I think a little too boring for me. So those are the tools you need, but I'd say if you want to approach the task, don't do it on an impulse. You've got to be patient and see it through and get yourself the right place. But yeah, at the moment, I have to say I still keep an eye on the market, just recently having bought, and it's a hard market to enter. So good luck if you're trying. I think the rewards are there, but if you've got the patience and you've got the willpower, you can do it, and hopefully I can do it too. Anyway, that's all for now. Have a lovely weekend or week, depending when you're watching, and I'll post you another video soon. Bye.